This video contains minor spoilers for attracting purposes, and I also want to warn you guys to lower the volume because imagine high school students developing rockets as part of their club activities. Yeah, Japan has some hardcore genius students. I mean, I'm 23 and I feel inferior to them. Even when you're Asian, there are still other Asians better than you. Anyway, on the fictional island south of Japan called Amanoshima, there is a large aerospace program that serves to cultivate the future generations of rocket scientists. To be specific on the location, it's a high school that specializes in aerospace curriculum. And of course, it's a high school because it wouldn't be a typical Japanese story if it wasn't. And in this school, there are several clubs that work on their own rocket projects, with one such club being Byakko. Unfortunately, Byakko is on the verge of being abolished due to insufficient members and the lack of accomplishments in tournaments. Therefore, the club president, Arisa Akatsuki, seeks out to recruit new members that includes the MC and work together with them to win a rocket tournament, despite the slim odds of winning. So this is a romance story that mainly follows a rocket club that wants to prevent its abolishment. To clarify on how fast I read, the most accurate description I could give is that I set my text speed all the way up to the max. And depending on how long the texts are, I would say that I take around 3 to 4 seconds maximum to read a text. So from around there, I took around 20 hours and 50 minutes, plus around 3 to 4 hours because I did not use VNManager before that. And speaking of which, I recommend using VNManager to, well, manage your all your VNs orderly in one app. Plus, it's connected to VNDB and you could check your playtime there. And I gotta give thanks to my fellow VNtuber, SuperAnge, for the recommendation. So the total playtime for me is around 24 to 25 hours, while VNDB is around 30. The lucky bastard of an MC, the busty Osana Najimi, the busty airhead senpai, the busty tsundere, god damn it, and the kudere loli. So we have the MC called Hayabusa Otaya. And he's an idiot. To be honest, I don't like him sometimes because at those times, he makes perverted actions that are despicable, like trying to flip up a skirt. Yeah, they were meant as a joke, but no, to me, I don't think that should be done even as a joke. In addition, he seems like a wimp whenever he's with Arisa during her tsundere moments. I don't know if he's a masochist or something, but I just think that he's a wimp. But I'll talk more about that in Arisa's story section. However, I do find his optimism to be likable, and I like that he's actually focused when doing productive stuff like making the rockets or studying the nature of the rockets. Overall, I think the MC to me is meh. Okay, meh. Not trash, but not remarkable either. Next, we have the Osana Najimi, Michibiki Honoka, the corrupted one. She's that cheeky and teasing sort of character that likes to make sexual jokes and pranks, which I have no problem of. But the thing that drags down my liking towards her is her voice. It's annoying. Her pitch level is dangerously high. Not as high as Platina from Eve Nickel 2, but it's close. I don't think she's even meant to be the cute character, so why give her a voice that's trying to act all cutesy? And she's not even a loli. She has those big badonkers for the love of Opai. I don't see the justification for this voice, but I can't blame the voice actress here. It's the developers at fault. If she had a more normal voice, then she could actually be likable, because she gave off similar vibes to Madoka from Aokana, who is my second favorite character overall in the series. But, you know, the voice, just a bad decision. After that, we have the busty airhead senpai, Ibuki Nazuna, or Natsu for short. And she loves to burn things, which is one of the reasons why she's in a rocket club. I used to call her an idiot, but I was corrected by other people, which I do admit wrong, because looking back, an idiot wouldn't actually know about rocket science, so I just call her an airhead now. I'm fine with airheads to an extent, and Natsu here is acceptable. But there is one thing that turns me off about her despite her having those big badonkers, and that is the fact that she effing cries over the simplest of things. And to make it worse, she does it often. It was okay in the beginning, but given the frequency of how often she does it, it just got annoying as the story progresses. Sometimes the crying works, but most of the time, it just got annoying. What's weirder is that she's a cheerful character, so her crying suddenly and randomly just weirds me out. That being said, I like how smart she is because she could explain the science behind rockets in simple terms. Coming up is the Busty Tsundere, Akatsuki Arisa, who is the club president of Byakko. Now, disclaimer, I hate tsunderes with a passion. Genuine, strong hatred. And Arisa here isn't excluded from it. She physically abuses the MC, giving off these punch sound effects that just annoys me whenever it comes up because it happens more often than not. Plus, it makes the MC look like a wimp, as I've said. Her physically abusing the MC is unjustified most of the time, and even when it is justified, it's still annoying. I just hate it. Get rid of it, or at least tame it. Despite me saying that, there are some moments when her tsundere side works because I do feel that they were wholesome, but most of the time, this personality is trash. Still, I like that she's a cheeky and teasing person just like Honoka, and to make it even better, she's a scheming demon, as mentioned in the story. Wait, red-haired club president, demon waifu. Rias? And lastly, we have the Kudere Loli, Reime Kaho, who is the pragmatic one. She is the straightforward kind of person that doesn't talk much, but when she does, she gives out short and concise answers, especially when she's addressed and or when she's talking or explaining about rockets, which I personally like. Her eyes are a bit damaged due to an unfortunate accident once, so she wears glasses sometimes, which is a bonus because it adds to her cuteness. Glasses fetish for the win. To me, Kao is the only character amongst the main characters that doesn't have annoying characteristics. She's the saving grace that I always look forward to. It's too bad that she's a loli because we can enjoy her fun parts. Regardless, Kudere beats Tsundere, period. Anytime, anywhere. Wait, Kudere? White hair? Loli? Koneko? What the fuck? We have DXD characters here. Not many characters, so I'll list them all. The usual childhood friend guy, the hardworking and overprotective technician, the smart and wise chairman, the hardworking and short-tempered fisherman who hates rockets, the arrogant yet likable and respectable club president, the loli, the passionate club president, glasses, the TILF, the underrated ex-student waifu, and the smart imoto. Best girl will be declared in a separate discussion section. Again, the muting individuals in the sounds page. A useless feature. Seriously. I mean, I hate how Honoka's voice actress voiced her, but I won't ever go that far to mute her. This feature is just disrespectful to the voice actors. VN Studios, get rid of it for crying out loud. Translation. Change, maybe, children, and protest, to removed. I dyed my hair with the towel. But overall, it's still good. And as for the good stuff, I appreciate that the developers added this page for key shortcuts for the game. It's very considerate of them. And there is that system voice option at which you can choose which waifu to voice when you access stuff. Speaking of voice, the MC in this VN is partially voiced, which is a mixed bag for me. But other than that, the other technical stuff are normal. Story structure consists of Honoka's route, Kaho's route, Natsu's route, Arisa's route, and finally the final chapter or the true end. You can only access the final chapter after completing each route by going back to the main menu and lift off. Before you've completed each of the waifu routes, the main menu will be like this. And by the way, there's no specific route order to unlock the final chapter. In order to get into a waifu's route, you'll be given 2 choices, and the choices are obvious, so don't worry. Speaking of the choices, I have one major problem with them. That is their placement in the story. Like, both choices are located before the orgasm phase of the story. Why? This is such a bad placement to put the choices. Oh my god, why? I'll explain more in my general opinion section. Anyway, just like my Alkana vid, this video's direction after this will follow my route order when I first played the game. But let's first talk about the common route. Common route is okay, it's not special, and I do find it to be normal in this kind of VNs. It does what it's supposed to do, that is to introduce every character in the story. Now, you would think that the common route focuses more on the rockets, right? Wrong. It focuses more on the fucking pantsu. FBI, open up! Jokes aside, the only thing I would complain about the common route is how Kaho joined the Byakko club. It was cheesy. I didn't like it. If I were to put myself as a side character during that scene, I would be annoyed AF. How the other waifus joined was fine. It's just Kaho's scene. Why do they have to ruin the good character scene? Okay, Honoka's route. To be honest, this route is 50-50 for me. I hated the first part of her route because it was based on a misunderstanding. It had unnecessary drama. It felt annoying. I didn't like it. All because of a misunderstanding. I don't know if both the MC and Honoka were dumb, but there is some bad characteristic that led to that particular misunderstanding. In the second half, it was okay. I don't have issues with the pacing, but I do have some issues with why several scenes happened. Not how it happened, but the why. For example, the reason why one of the episodes happened is stupid. It's unrealistic for students who want to become rocket scientists. Imagine making rocket parts or something like for more than a week for an order, and then just to find out that you did not read the order correctly. So you have to redo them all over again. What the F? Did you not read the order again during those several days? Anyway, it was only after the misunderstanding was settled that Honoka's route became decent and possibly even good, because I did enjoy the orgasm phase in her route. As for the ending, I did not like how it went, like how it was executed, but the destination itself was okay. Next, Natsu's route. To be honest, I didn't actually find anything to dislike in her route. The only thing that I would be annoyed about is the fact that she cries often, as I've said before. But I believe that side of hers was tamed in her route. Like, it doesn't occur often, so it's not really annoying. Maybe I feel that way because I'm playing her route, or maybe because she's blonde, as I have a thing for blondes now since I'm in Germany. Or maybe because she has those big badonkers that I'm willing to let it slide. I've mentioned how smart she is. It's because that she could explain complex rocket science in a simple way. Well, let's say that she tries to use an analogy involving RPGs to explain the concept of rockets. And since I do play RPGs, it coincides with me, but I do think that anyone can understand it. I gotta say though, I love the orgasm phase of Natsu's route. To me, it has the most suspense scenes amongst the other routes, and I find it to be more entertaining than most shonen climax scenes now. After that, Kaho's route. And again, I also didn't find anything to dislike in her route except for one, at which peeps would need to interpret by themselves. That is the development between Kaho and the MC to fall in love with each other. When compared to other routes, Kaho's love development was quicker. Honestly, I didn't find it to be a surprise actually, because I was like, they fell in love already? Regardless, I like it overall. Kaho's route made me care for her more as a character than the other main characters except for Arisa. And speaking of Arisa, every single one of you that I asked has told me to save Arisa's route for the last. And of course, I obliged. Given my hatred towards Tsunderes, I expected her route to be worse, but it actually defied my expectations. It's better than I thought it could be, but let's first talk about the bad stuff. The MC in this route feels like a wimp the most and an idiot the most, because he has to sync in harmony with Arisa's Tsundere side, which I personally hate. So the moments before they got together, is intolerable. That being said, her tsundere side was tamed afterwards, so it actually became tolerable in some parts after they both got together. After that happened, it finally became an enjoyable read. The CGs, the character development, the character interaction, the cinematography are all the best in Arisa's route. I gotta say, her route is a roller coaster of emotions, but it's the most amount of emotions I felt when playing this VN. So I understand why all the peeps that I asked recommended me to save Arisa's route for the last. Lastly, the true end. Honestly speaking, I expected more from the true end. I find the final chapter to be somewhat lackluster. The drama here was okay to be used, but similar to Honoka's route, the reasoning behind why the drama had to happen was kind of stupid. It's also unrealistic. It's like there's no safety first protocol or something. Regardless, the ending scene was okay. Could have been better if it was longer, but it's still okay. So yeah, by now you should know that there are a lot of things that I dislike in this VN. Firstly, the main characters. The fact that there is a goddamn tsundere in this story. I would have tolerated her if her tsundere level wasn't above mid-level, but fucking hell, it gets high at times. It's just a pain in the ass to read. Then Natsu with her frequent crying, and Honoka's high-pitched voice. Secondly, how bad Honoka's route when compared to the other routes. It was torture to me to read the first half of her route. I was actually hoping that her route could compensate for her voice, but no, it didn't. I feel bad for Honoka and her voice actress. This is a developer's problem, not a seiyu's problem. Third point, the placement of the choices in the common route. As I've said, it's a bad placement. Why? Because of the fact that you have to fucking skip through the climax again and again in order to get into the waifu's route. You know how bored I was having to skip through all of that? And it's even worse due to those calendar transitions. Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street and I know it's my time to go. Going new. But there is this episode jump or skip feature, so you might be wondering, ASid, why didn't you just use that feature? Well, Degens, I had to check if there were hidden waifu moments during the climax of the common route, so I needed to skim through all the routes just in case. Anyway, VN Studios, please learn from this mistake. Fourth point, the reasonings behind why certain scenes happen. I'm fine with the execution of the drama overall, but the reasoning behind them is just bad. Lastly, and the most important of all, the lack of... Spoiler warning, it only occurred once throughout the entire game, at least if I recall correctly. So yeah, not having... is a massive downside. Now let's get to the good stuff. I really like the concept behind this VN. Rockets are an interesting topic. I play space colonization games a lot, and reading the science behind rockets is fun. The explanation about rockets were good. Some waifus did it better than others, but they're all good. Furthermore, you get history lessons about the rockets themselves and some side fun facts, one of which I posted in Reddit. It's always nice to learn something new. Next, I also like the fact that they could solve their rocket problems by getting epiphanies from sexual moments. It's hilarious actually to see that anime boob jiggle physics or thrusting momentums are related to rocket science. Who said that being horny is bad? It fucking contributed to interstellar travel, people. After that, the antagonist of the story. I just love the character. In fact, I think I love him more than MC, which doesn't mean good for the protagonist. You might find the antagonist to be despicable at first, but I just think that it's supposed to make you feel the hatred. As you read further, you will like him because he doesn't follow that usual villain trope that just wanna be bad because reasons. He's actually a respectable guy, and I'm grateful that he's not what I thought he could be. Finally, the character interaction. I appreciate how each character interact with each other. There are some good comedic moments, especially when it involves the MC's younger sister. I genuinely enjoyed reading every scene of her. It's just straight up funny. I would honestly recommend starting with Honoka's and then ending with Arisa's. Saying that, I am admitting that Arisa's route is the best overall. Probably because the developers meant it that way, since she is the main girl amongst the main characters. As I've said, Arisa's route gave me the most amount of emotions to feel, whether they're good or bad. so I'll give credit to that. Personally, I will go for Honoka's, Kaho's, then Natsu's, and finally Arisa's, and naturally the true end. As I've said, the horny scenes contributed to the science behind the rockets, so the fun stuff in this VN is definitely necessary. Those peeps that post bonk horny memes can fight me. They're all good, and surprisingly, I enjoy Arisa's fun parts the most. One of the reasons why is because that she has her hair tied up like Akino, so when she lets her hair down, it's just that much hotter. Plus, red hair. You can't hate that. As for the others, I like Natsu's second most, while Honoka's are just okay due to that voice of hers. Kaho's, on the other hand, well, it's a sin against humanity to loot lollies, so don't ever get hard reading her scenes. I do want to point out that Honoka has less scenes in her route, but is compensated by bonus episodes, which you could find in the extras page. Take note though, if you're a completionist, you need to read these bonus scenes in order to get 100% CG. Well, truth be told, I didn't want to make a section for this topic, but as the result was surprising, I had to. I gotta admit, no matter how much I hate it, the waifu that gave me the most impact is none other than Arisa. Probably because she's the main girl, so the developers polish her and her route way more than others, so I gotta give credit to that at least. As I've said, her route is the best, and to add to that, her character interaction with the MC is the best. So yeah, best girl with the best route is definitely Arisa. Objectively speaking. Subjectively speaking, I like Kaho's personality more. If only she wasn't a lolly, I would have given her best girl. If only Honoka didn't have that annoying voice, I would have given her best girl. And if only Natsu didn't cry often, or just said even once, I would have given her best girl. God damn it! By the way, I want to give an honorable mention to Yui here. I just think that she's a great supporting character. And I also wish that there was a side route for Akari. I need those badonkers for academic purposes. To conclude, Byakko, Farther Than the Blue Sky is a VN with an interesting and unique concept, but with a not so interesting story. If I had to take a break like every half an hour reading this VN, then there's something wrong with the story. Execution and pacing are fine though, but most of the main characters are not to my liking. They're compensated by their routes, but I still can't like them overall. If this VN with the name Farther Than the Blue Sky, then naturally I would compare it to Aokana and If My Heart Had Wings. But sadly, Byakko scored lower than when compared to the other two. Quite ironic, to be honest. Anyway, the Degen score is 7.5. I would have given it a 7, but the surprising moments that defied my expectations should be given credit to. Well, that's all from me. Hope you guys can like and subscribe if my content is degenerate enough. Later, Degens.